What's up, 8th graders? I just wanted to make a quick video explaining what you missed if you missed today's in-person meeting. And if you just want to look back at the directions again, this is a video to help guide you through. If you just are stuck on the one-pager and want to see this again, a little explanation. So today, your learning target is I can distinguish between weather and climate. So we want you to be able to distinguish between these two things. If you were to come back next Monday, we want to be able to ask you, what's the difference between weather and climate? You should be able to answer that next week, okay? First thing next week. So you may be asking, what is a one-pager? A one-pager is a creative response to your learning experience. It allows you to respond creatively while being brief and to the point in making connections between words and images. So this is the key part. You're making connections between words and images to solidify your thinking around weather and climate, okay? So you are going to put things in your own words in this, like Mr. Rad taught us in the S-term project. You put things in your own words so you show your own thinking around this topic. To give you an example of a one-pager, a lot of them, people do them a lot differently. This is one somebody did on the great white shark. So they listed connections they have to the great white shark. There's kind of an anatomical drawing here with like all the parts of a great white shark. Some keywords. We're going to ask you to put some keywords. You may want to explain these keywords in your one-pager. Some fun facts is what they put in there. You're going to put some differences between weather and climate in your own words. And this person explained why they wanted to do a one-pager on the great white shark. Notice how there's images and words. Images and words, maybe symbols and words. And this is organized a little different than yours may be today. These are a couple different examples of a one-pager. This person made one on energy, different types of energy. They said the difference between kinetic and potential. Here's a great example of using images here. This one's gravitational energy, and they kind of explained it in their own words here. They also show a picture of a roller coaster to show that roller coasters have gravitational force that pull the roller coaster carts down towards the earth, the center of the earth, which makes them go fast and go towards the ground, basically. So that's an example of using visual aids to help explain or solidify thinking around gravitational energy. You will do the same thing around climate and weather. This is an example of a climate versus weather one-pager. So this person said climate is what you expect, weather is what you get. So they have some like sunny, windy, cloudy, snowy, rainy, and then their keywords at the bottom. Yours will kind of be set up like this to begin with. An example of what yours will look like is this. Feel free to move all this stuff around. This is just to get you started. I honestly think you could make it look way cooler if you did your own titles, your own explanations, and kind of messed it up a bit. We don't even mind if you take out the line in the middle from separating it, as long as you can show that you can distinguish the differences between weather and climate. Do it as creative as possible, okay? This is just a start I got on mine. I was comparing weather and climate. So weather, I compared today's temperature to the average temperature of an area. I might compare a rainy day to the average amount of rain in Minnesota for a year, per year. So then an example of like an idea to put like a vision in your brain of weather versus climate that doesn't relate to weather and climate really is one photo versus the entire album of photos. So it's like one thing versus, or like one day versus a long period of time almost. So you're going to put these definitions into your own words. The things your one-pager must include: clear and detailed explanations of both weather and climate in your own words. That is key, in your own words. We don't want to see other people's work about weather and climate. We want to hear what you think about weather and climate. You need 8 visual representations, 4 photos from screen snips or photos, 2 or more original or student-drawn images using Scribble tool and or shapes within the Google Draw that you'll be using. You're going to be using Google Drawing today, so I have some tips in a video in your active science notebook that you can look at. You need clearly stated differences between weather and climate. You need keywords that help explain your understanding for that represent weather and for that represent climate. So you're going to put keywords, stuff like that. If you would prefer to hand draw your one pager, that is a fine option, but it will need to include all the things above. Just hand draw all the pictures or visual representations instead of finding photos to include. You will also, and this is very important if you want to just hand draw your one pager, you need to make sure you can take a quality photo and turn it into Google Classroom before you do it by hand, okay? We need to be able to look at it and understand what's going on when you turn it in. Let's look at your ISNs real quick. So today your names, you might put your name there, and then these are what we're doing in class on Monday and Tuesday if you are synchronous. These are what you'll do before we meet again. I think for cohort A it's due on Sunday. Here's some tips down here for you. Let's get into the one pager though. We already talked about one pagers. You remember you're trying to distinguish between weather and climate. Starting your one pager, find your weather versus climate one pager assignment in Google Classroom. It's number 3 for the week in Google Classroom. Check out the one pager requirements on the next slide right here. You're gonna have to hit all these requirements that we already talked about. Then you're gonna watch my video. I would recommend watching the video if you want to turn in a quality product. And in my video down here on slide 7, I actually put the minute marker or the time marker you can look at to watch how to do all these things. If you want to put word art in, if you want to fill shapes, if you want to group shapes, if you want to use Scribble tool, this is a really cool tool that I didn't know how to do before we set up this assignment. Adding photos and searching photos. You can still use snipping tool with that control shift and the screen switching button above 6 to add like snips of different photos, changing background color, and adding text boxes. So you will be responsible for these things. I really recommend watching this video. I know it's long, but you can jump to different parts for tips when using Google Drawing. If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to message on Google Hangouts or Google Meet or whatever, or email to Ms. Schwintek or myself. You got this, 8th graders. I will see you either today, tomorrow, or next week.